Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Another Dooley Noted Podcast, brought to you, as always, by Titan MRI and brought to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. We appreciate all of the people that are going to stick with us all summer. It's hard, I know. There's not a lot to talk about, but we find topics, and we will have a lot of fun with it. I promise you, the best part of your summer will not be laying at the beach. It will not be going to Disney World, which I can tell you it's not going to be. It's going to be listening to this podcast or watching it. We have a great guest today, Todd Johnson. Remember Todd Johnson, who was a great player at Florida, 3 times All-SEC during his career at Florida, and, of course, played for the Bears for 7 years. We'll have him on, and we'll talk to him about how he got to Florida and what he's been doing. He's been a coach down at Sarasota Riverview. So we'll get to that. And, again, Coach Spurrier will be on again Monday. If you guys have any, that's another thing. If you guys have any questions for Coach Spurrier you've always wanted to ask him, just send me an email. It's not hard. Patrick Dooley, 54. 54 is how old I am. No, it's the year I was born. Patrick Dooley, 54 at gmail.com. If you want to ask Coach Spurrier a question during Monday's segment, we'll say your name and ask it. So there you go. All right, so I have played a lot of golf over the last 2 days, and I'm going to go play again today when I'm done here. We didn't do radio for a couple of days because some different reasons. One was the RUF is carrying the College World Series, some of their games. But, man, I played a lot of golf. I have got the fever so bad, and I'm actually hitting shots that are they're not bad. You know what that means? I'm still not good. I'm still not as good as I want to be. So we'll talk about golf as we get to the hand-loft starting lineup, which, of course, kicks off our segments now. And we have another sponsorship change that'll be interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Somebody moving over, and I get it. Some people times you just want to move to something else. Maybe you find something more attractive. It's like going out. You're going out with a girl, next thing you know, or going out with a guy, and next thing you know, you go, that guy's better looking. I think I'm going to go ahead and go to that. That's exactly what's happened here. So it is time for the Hand Law starting lineup. All right, number one, I'm going to go as the number one biggest story right now would be the Warriors winning last night. I jokingly said, there's no way I'm staying up and watching these games. In my day, they played nothing but day games. That's all they did, and we liked it. No, I mean, that first of all, that's not true. But, I didn't think I would stay up, but I watched. And it was an amazing performance by the Warriors. I know a lot of you, most of you, were rooting for the Celtics, as I was right up until this series. But I've been this kind of latent, I don't even know that's not even the right word. I just kind of a bad Warriors fan for a long time. I have T-shirts from them, and I like Steph Curry. He's my favorite player. So I rooted for them. I felt bad for Al Horford, and that's why a lot of you rooted for the Celtics. I felt, obviously he gave everything he could. I think he had like 20 and 14 last night. So it's not like he was not doing his job. But look, this Warriors team is amazing, and it is a dynasty. You win 4 in 8 years, it's a dynasty. And think about where they were. That 2 years ago during the COVID year, they had the worst record in the league. Now they had injuries, I think that's when Steph and Clay both out, I think, at one point, and Draymond was hurt. And then last year, again, they had some injuries, and they went out in the play-in game. From that, they resurrected and became this team that was just so good. I love watching that team play, and I'm happy for them. I'm also happy for Chris Chiozza. It was weird because, again, he's on the team, but I guess I don't think he dressed out because last night I saw this moment where I saw Cheese. I go, Cheese! There he was on the floor celebrating, but he was in dress clothes. So I assume he wasn't on the active roster or whatever, but he's getting a ring. He actually had the pose with the trophy and everything. They did that for him, so I'm happy for him. Think about how many guys go their whole lives and never get an NBA championship ring. Guys like Charles Barkley. It was a much better player than Chris Chiozza, but Cheese has a ring, so I'm happy for him. Number 2 on the hand loss starting lineup, I do want to go to recruiting because there's been some weird stuff going on. First of all, Jaden Rashada, who's a quarterback that Florida's targeted, and they really want to get him, he was supposed to announce Saturday, tomorrow. For those of you listening Saturday, today. For those of you who are listening Sunday, yesterday. He was supposed to. But what happened was he decided, I'm going to push it back. I still want to make sure. And I know there are a lot of guys in his ears from all over the place. I mean, his final 5 schools are Texas A&M, Miami, Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida. That's not a good pool to get into because you're dealing with a lot of NIL money, and you're also dealing with guys who don't mind doing things unscrupulously, as we've seen before. On probation, may go on probation soon. Spent your whole 90s on probation. Those are the teams that they're competing with. So anyway, he moves it back to next Sunday is when it'll be. And we'll see what happens there. But some fans are really doing – they're already – I kept telling myself, don't worry, Gator fans are going to be patient with this coach. They know the program's in trouble. And then I read some of these posts that people send me. And believe me, I don't go on any of these websites, but I read these posts and they're like, well, maybe we were sold a bill of goods with Napier and all this. And I'm like, it's June. Signing day is December. Look, I'm with you. I think Florida needs to get that big commitment to kind of get the ball rolling. But what happens? A.J. Harris, who would have been a big commitment, they were really in on, ends up going to Georgia. And that's where people go, oh, crap. This is going to be some more of the same. But they've got a lot of guys in this weekend. We'll see what happens. I just, you guys never cease to amaze me. But I also think sometimes you have to take everything with a grain of salt, because how do you know that the person that is on that website saying, well, maybe Napier needs to be gone already, he clearly can't deliver, that guy is actually on the Georgia staff or on the, they're like, do you think they've quit recruiting, first of all? Secondly, do you think that they don't have the same kind of army that Billy Napier does? And they put that kind of crap up there. I'm not saying this is a specific case, but I think it does happen. And I know that in the year, I remember the one year Ron Zook had an amazing recruiting class. And everybody, and FSU's people were going, we got zooked. And I go, what do you mean you got zooked? Well, they put out a lot of stuff, and it wasn't wrong. It wasn't illegal, but making sure that the families got all these headlines about things that were going on. They didn't have to be accurate. No, I'm not saying they weren't accurate at the time, or when you put out a newspaper, you write an accurate headline, but that's how you did it. And that, let me tell you what, the people they got out of that class won a national championship in Florida. So good for him. All right, number 4. Or am I at number 3? Oh yeah, I wanted to mention this. Florida is going to play Kansas State in the Big 12 SEC championship in lovely Manhattan, Kansas. I've never been there. Don't care if I ever go there. So that'll be their game. There, I've looked at their schedule. It's pretty tough. Again, Todd Golden's got bringing in a lot of talent. You got Castleton and everything. I have no idea how good they're going to be, but you're going to have a tough schedule. And then you get the SEC schedule, which is ridiculous because everybody's doing an incredible job with recruiting there. So that is that part of it. The Open. I don't want to talk too much about the U.S. Open because a lot of you listen to it on the show on Saturday or Friday night or even as late as Sunday, and you're going to know more about it. It looks like it's going to be an unbelievable last day. I can't wait for it. I'm excited. My pick, Sam Burns, played really well on Friday, 67. And as I left the house, he was one behind the lead, so great for him. I kind of made a pick out of left field, and maybe it'll work out. But it looks like a U.S. Open course. It feels like a U.S. Open course, and that's what I like. Look, you watch the U.S. Open for great stories and great train wrecks. That's what you want to see. You want to see guys make eights, and get out of the way. Get out of the way with your little eight. That's why you watch it. And this course is certainly it. It's really good. And finally, we know what homecoming is now. Florida will play Missouri on homecoming. That is an October 8th game. Again, you could have waited a week and played LSU. I don't think Florida wants to schedule LSU ever again for homecoming. Two reasons. One, they can't beat them at home. They've lost 4 games at home to LSU of the last 6, I think, and lost 9 of the last 12. But that's not the reason. The reason is they'll make a big deal out of it if you schedule them for homecoming. And they use that as an incentive. I don't think Missouri even cares. I don't even know what Missouri homecoming is like. There's no telling what it's like. But anyway, Florida will play Missouri for homecoming on October 8th. So I know a lot of people were wondering, well, hey, when are they going to do that schedule? We wonder about a lot of schedules around here, and some of them we don't get a chance to go to. So anyway, we got a lot to talk about. We'll bring on Todd Johnson in just a minute. We got to get the Leonardos at Millhopper quick picks, and I will tell you, we had a lot of qualifiers from the Golden State game, but nobody qualified under the Rory McIlroy's first round, which was 67. Nobody went that low. And you guys are all so funny. They're all so funny. They all wanted to, you know what number they gave me? What their score for McIlroy? What do you guess it was? 69. They love to say that, just to get it out. Guys need to grow up, okay? That's all I'm saying. So we will do another qualifier, and I'm going to tell you that a week from today, next Friday, we're going to do another drawing. Ryan, if you're listening, I will get your stuff. We've been dealing with a lot in our house right now, COVID related. So unfortunate, but it's just luckily I keep testing negative. It's a miracle. I don't know how I'm doing it, but and staying away from people for the most part. In fact, move back a little bit, Evan. Can you just move back a little? He's like, no, I'm not going to move back. That's me in the corner. All right, so we've got a lot of things to get to. The Leonardos at Millhopper quick picks. We'll do another one, and then another one Monday, and then another one Friday. No, then we'll pick Friday. So let's go. Let's do this. Let's make this happen. We have our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. We have the new Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Excited about them being moving their sponsorship over, and we appreciate them. We also have we'll do the games of the weekend, and of course the Big Mills, Yes, No, Where, Maybe with Todd Johnson, and this, that, and the other. God, we got a lot of stuff to get to. That seems like a big burden, but we'll keep adding on things because we like to talk about it. It's the summer, people. When it's the summer, whatever you can do is what you do because you got to be able to make you entertained. Hopefully, we entertain you. I'm also welcome to feedback on at that email and I've gotten some, and I will tell you about some of it in a minute. At least one thing for sure. All right, so let's get a break, and then we'll come back with another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. And it's great to have one of my favorite players who's played at Florida, a guy that was great in interviews and just a great player, 3 times All-SEC, played 7 years in the NFL, drafted by the Bears, one of my favorite players to ever watch at Florida. Todd Johnson, of course, who played for Coach Spurrier and played for Coach Zook. There's a lot of those guys out there that we've had on the show. They went from that Spurrier-Zook thing. That had to be weird.
Hey, Pat, how are you? Glad to be on, man. It was definitely unique being my whole time with Coach Spurrier and how he did things to go Coach Zook in my senior year, which was obviously different, but I sure have a ton of respect for Coach Zook and appreciate the time I had with him.
What was your recruiting process like? I mean, obviously nothing is like what we're seeing now. I mean, nobody was offering you NIL deals, were they?
No NIL deals, unfortunately, or maybe not. Probably a good thing that it wasn't. So the high school I went to was ranked top 5 in the country. So, being in the state of Florida and being at such a good high school and having so many recruits, every college in the country came through during spring practice. And, Miami recruited me the hardest. I went down there on an unofficial visit during the season. Really? And pretty much fell asleep during one of their games. The stadium was about 25% full. And I knew that wasn't going to be the environment for me.
Oh, I love that story. That's the best story we've ever had on this show, that you fell asleep during your recruiting visit, because everybody should fall asleep during the recruiting visit at Miami.
And it was a conference game. It was like a big game. I think they were playing Arizona or Arizona State or somebody. I mean, it was a big game for them. So that was an easy decision. And then, Alabama and Florida were kind of the two that I struggled between. Although I was a Gator fan, and when Coach Spurrier and Coach Franks came over to my house for dinner, he probably knew that he was going to get me. There was a big, huge, life-size picture of Larry Kennedy, who you guys probably remember.
Oh, yeah.
Played at my high school. I looked up to him growing up, and he played at Florida. So I'm sure Spurrier saw that picture hanging in my room and said, we probably got this guy.
Well, Larry Kennedy, I talk to him all the time. He's a great guy, working up there in Charlotte for Rodell, doing that work. But, so when you decide on Florida, was that one of those phone calls where you call up Coach Spurrier, or did you actually do it in person?
I called up Coach Franks. I was, I had made my mind up, and I kind of told my coach that we were going to wait till sign day. He's like, let's do it now. Let's do it. This is where you want to go. This is the place you need to be. Let's call them and commit, and let's get this thing done. And I thought that was a smart move, and called Coach Franks, who was a fantastic recruiter, and what a reputation he has in the state of Florida from high school coaches.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best. Just a great, genuine guy.
No, Carl's one of my buddies. I mean, I remember I would go out to lunch with him, and he would draw plays for me that they had run. Like I remember they ran that play with the toss to Fred Taylor, and he would cut it up, and he was showing me the whole play. He's showing me the play that we can put in the paper. And I'm like, well,
right.
It doesn't mean you could stop it, Yeah. But
how cool is that? How many coaches would do that for you, right?
No, he was that kind of guy. So you get to Florida, and I know you redshirted your first year, right?
I redshirted. I think I want to say Lester Norwood and Robert Gillespie may have been the only two who didn't redshirt. There may have been one more, but I believe those were the only two that did not redshirt. I could be off.
That first year, yeah.
Yeah, but there wasn't many that played that first year. Most of us redshirted back then.
But then you get to start playing, and also we're like, who's that kid that's running around knocking people out? I mean, what's that all about? I mean, you had a reputation for being a hard hitter. That's no question about it.
Yeah, that was just kind of, again, going back to my high school days of you better be physical and you better be able to hit and be tough or you wouldn't have made the field. So I attribute it a lot to that.
I hate to bring this up because I am actually doing this thing on the 12, the Dooley's Dozen for Gators Wire about the 12 guys who broke Gators' hearts. And one of them is Travis Stevens. Do you see him when you go to bed at night?
No, I try and block that out. I don't like talking about it either. Unfortunately, I saw him plenty that night.
That was unbelievable. I mean, he came out of nowhere to do that.
Yeah, it was sickening. Shouldn't have happened. If we do a halfway decent job of controlling him, we probably are in the hunt for national championship, right? Well, we are in the hunt for a national championship, and probably got a real good chance to win it.
Probably would have beaten LSU the next week and then played in the Rose Bowl. In fact, here's where we jinxed you. We already had a babysitter set up for the Rose Bowl.
There you go.
Yeah, we total jinx job on that one. But obviously that 2001 season. Coach talks about it all the time. We have Coach Spurrier on every Monday here on the show, and he talks about it all the time. That I think that is his biggest regret, that team was not able to, get to a national championship game, because I think he thinks it might have been his best team.
Yeah, we were loaded. We were good. People ask me a lot when I got to the NFL, did the speed of the game change? And I always say, no. I was practicing against Jabbar, Rashae Caldwell, Taylor Jacobs, and Rex was slinging it to him with Robert Gillespie swinging out in the backfield. So I was, trying to cover those guys every day.
You were ready.
Yeah, so they're as quick and as fast and as elusive as you can get. So, we were really, really, really talented on offense and had some really good defensive players as well.
Yeah, I was trying to think when you went to the Bears, you were a fourth-round pick. You went to the Bears. Who was on that? Was Ian Scott on that team too?
Well, Alex Brown was already up in Chicago. He got drafted the year before. Rex got drafted in the first round. I got drafted in the fourth round. Ian Scott got drafted after me, and then Tron LaFavor, who was another defensive tackle out of Miami or Fort Lauderdale. So it was the four of us going up there for OTAs, all flying up there, getting in the limo together, and arriving at Hallis Hall. So if that was not like meant to be comfortable feeling this is where you're supposed to be signed, then, I don't really know what is.
I was going to say, it's unbelievable because you're not – I would think that for a lot of rookies, even though they're being treated really well, they're going to a place they've never been. And you guys are like, hey, let's just take the Gator party up here.
Absolutely. And who better to really set the tone and be vocal about it than Alex Brown welcoming you into the locker room and letting the guys know, all right, these guys are legit. They can play. I'm going to look out for them and make sure they do things the right way. I mean,
Yeah,
Alex, you guys probably know that. Alex is one of the best and most vocal Gators that there is.
I love Alex. He's been on here a couple times. Yeah, we love him. He is, again, he's a guy I think should be in the Ring of Honor. I don't know why that. Hopefully, I'm pushing really hard to change the rules of the Ring of Honor because they're too restrictive. And I think Alex Brown, Lomas Brown would be the first two people I would put in there.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. Alex was a heck of a playmaker and a heck of a Gator and really did it the right way.
All right, let me ask you this, because you went into coaching at Sarasota Riverview, where the head coach, you stepped away for a better opportunity and the business, but you're still around it and you're doing a lot of things with it. Did you see that Marquand Manuel was going to be this successful as a coach?
Yeah, actually, I did. I knew he would be a coach and probably be really, really good at it. I owe a lot of my success at Florida, especially early on, to Marquand. Because although we were competing against each other and battling for the same positions, from the time I got there, pretty much every day in the off season after workouts, Marquand would take me to the track or to wherever, and we would work on stuff and train and just try and get better. And his film study, even back then, and the way he approached the game was just like a coach. So it was pretty evident that he was going to be a fantastic coach someday.
We're talking on the Big Mills Zoom line with Todd Johnson, of course, 3 times All SEC, which is not bad. I mean, not that many guys can say that. 2 times first team, 1 time second team. That's pretty good.
It's pretty cool. I don't hear that very often anymore, so it is pretty cool to hear. And it's fun that now that my kids are the age that they can enjoy the Gator games, and knowing that I played, it's been a ton of fun getting them back there and getting around some old players and seeing you at the spring game and whatnot. So it's just a great place to be and come spend time.
Do you ever show them any highlights of you?
There's a YouTube video that they've seen that all my friends around here have seen and whatnot. So they've seen clips here and there of some things.
You must be hitting somebody.
Sports cards are now the big thing, right? So they really want some sports cards, and we went up to the game. They were selling some Gator ones, so they opened some packs and got some old players. They didn't get mine, but they got a bunch of cool ones, and Trask autographed one of them. So that was a fun night at the spring game.
You need to get one of you in a Bears uniform. That would be pretty good.
That would be cool.
How was it for you in the NFL? I mean, playing, you lasted a while. I mean, you were around, 7 years, I think, total. And so how was that for you playing there?
I loved it. It was great. Rex, again, was probably, and I've thought about this recently. Rex was my longest teammate that I ever had, because we were in Florida for 3 or 4 years, and then, in Chicago for 4 years. So I don't have any other guys that I played on the same team with for 7 or 8 years. So that was a ton of fun, and we were good having the Super Bowl experience. Although we didn't win, we had a heck of a run and had some really, really good teams and some good memories. And, it was great. And then I get to St. Louis for the Rams, and Aaron Walker, who was my first roommate at Florida, was on the team. So we start rooming together again. I bought a house. He moved in with me. And then Brock Berlin, who was a really good friend of mine, roommate at Florida, is now rooming with us in St. Louis. So we're sitting there playing video games and, getting ready to go to football practice it's like we're in college. It was a pretty cool, fun experience.
I'll tell you a funny story about that Super Bowl, because I went down just for the media days because there were so many of you guys playing for the Bears.
Right.
And I'm kind of lingering outside that podium where Alex Brown's speaking. Yeah. And all of a sudden he spots me and he goes, "Number 46, really? That's where you put me on the top 100 Gators of all time, number 46." And all the media guys are looking around going, "What the hell is he talking about?" But I said, Robbie did it. I blamed Robbie for it. So, but I would have moved. I should have moved him way up. And I think he's a Ring of Honor candidate. But so obviously you're still into coaching. You're still doing a little bit. But also working a job with our friend Mike Pearson, who's one of my favorite people too.
Yeah, so Mike offered me a job that I couldn't pass up, and I took it. I couldn't be on campus as the teacher and the head football coach anymore, but it's still all pretty much the same staff that I hired, and they welcome me with open arms, thankfully, because that's a passion of mine, and I love it. And although I don't get out there every day, I still feel like I can help and be involved and contribute. And then last year, my son, who's 11, started playing tackle football for the first time. So we're still around the game and love.
Is he sticking people, or is he?
You can't really do that anymore. There's not as much hitting and banging like there used to be. So, which I'm okay with. You know, he's quick and fast and likes the offensive side of the ball. So I'm not going to try and turn him into a banger.
Did you meet your wife at Florida when you were here?
I did. Yeah, we met in beginning of my junior year at Florida.
I think everybody I talked to met their wife here at Florida, and you know that all these former players. So it's obviously a great environment to have that kind of situation. But you know, it just seems like a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's what makes it so much fun. She grew up a Gator and probably went to more games than I did growing up. So she loves going to the games, and you know, really the whole family enjoys it, and we've had a blast getting up and spending time in Gainesville.
All right, we've got this game we play with all of our guests. It's called Yes, No Way, or Maybe. You have to answer 3 questions, either yes, no way, or maybe. It's brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks. Street dining done fine. If you go to Big Mill's and you tell them you were listening to Another Dooley Noted Podcast with Todd Johnson, you get free fries with your order. So there you go. If you come up here, just walk in there and tell them you were listening to Another Dooley Noted Podcast. Okay, number 1 on our Big Mill's Cheesesteaks, yes, no way, or maybe. Todd Johnson hit harder than Mark 1 Manuel.
Maybe. Depends on the day.
But you guys, I mean, that was what safety play was supposed to be back in that day. Yeah.
Yeah. You wanted receivers to be scared of you, right? And that was part of why you were good back there. If you can hit them and they were thinking about you when the ball was in the air. In fact, I was covering Randy Moss deep, and Dante Culpepper didn't throw the ball, and Randy's like, "Hey, I would have dunked it on your head if he would have thrown that." And I'm like, "All right, but just know, I'm not going for the football." He's like, "Oh, so you're a deep shot artist?" I said, "Just know, I'm not going for the football." And then the very next series, I think it was Nate Burleson, I hit him pretty hard and laid him out at like the echo of the whistle.
Yeah.
And Randy comes over there and grabs me, and we start like a big brawl, and a bunch of guys got fined and everything. So big article in the paper. So that was definitely a something that safeties think about, particularly me.
Yeah. But where does that come from in your past? Was it come from a dad who taught you that, or where does that come from that made you really want to hit people?
It's 2 things. One of them's good, one of them's bad. One is my high school. The way we practice was extremely physical. You can't do that. You can't practice like that anymore. College coaches were wowed and amazed when they would come see us practice, the amount of hitting that we would do. And then 2, probably being a tad bit slow to situations. Instead of being able to go for the ball, you got to go for the hit. Now, I kind of took it to another level and just embraced the hitting part of it. But I think a lot of times the big hit comes from being just a hair slow of getting to the ball.
Do you still have any pain? When you wake up in the morning, is your shoulders or?
Pat, I got out lucky, man. I broke my jaw in Chicago. I had some internal bleeding and whatnot, but
I remember that. Yeah.
No major injuries, and I feel great. So knock on wood. Hopefully that continues.
All right, number 2, you were a state champ or a city champ or some kind of champ in the 110 hurdles. Could you get over all the hurdles right now if you went out to run?
No way. No, I could get over 3 or 4 of them. But no, I couldn't get over all the hurdles. And that is fun. I when I was the head coach, I coached track as well. So I would still, go over the hurdles and have some fun with it. But no, can't get over all of them, at least not 3-stepping.
Well, if you were that good as a runner, then you had to have some speed, right?
I could run. I was pretty fast. And I think that's, track was probably a big reason why I was recruited so heavily. I went to state finals 3 years in a row in the state of Florida in the biggest classification and finished third my junior and senior year. So, to be able to learn that skill and improve my speed at that level was surely a reason why I was recruited the way I was.
All right, finally, number 3 on the Big Mills cheesesteaks. Yes, no way, or maybe Florida's secondary will be much improved this year. I'm putting you on the spot right here.
Yes. I mean, I'm thinking that they will definitely be improved in the safety play, and some of the rotations that we didn't see last year will be improved and put the guys in positions to just make a basic leverage football play and put them in successful situations. So I'm excited.
Safety play has not been good the last few years here. I would tell it like it is.
I know, and I'm usually a pretty positive guy and see the good in things, but you're right. It's been bad, and I think it's for multiple reasons. The scheme they're playing and some other things, but I surely hope and think that that'll change this upcoming year.
Todd, it's been great. It's been fun talking to you, and it was fun seeing you a few months ago, and just great to see you. And I mean, again, one of the really great Gators, 3-time All-SEC, and of course, 7 years in the NFL. Appreciate your time. Maybe we'll get you on during football season again, okay?
Yeah, would love it. I love the Gators. Had a great time there. Had some great friends and some great memories, and appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Todd. We'll see you, buddy.
All right. Yep, go Gators.
All right, the great Todd Johnson joining us here on the Big Mills Cheesesteak Zoom line, and he played Yes, No, Where, Maybe. He seemed to enjoy that game. Most people do enjoy Yes, No, Where, Maybe. You gotta admit that, Evan. They do enjoy it. Okay. Right now, we have to take a break. And when we come back, we have a lot of things to do, including our Leonardo's and Millhopper Quick Picks, our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week, 3 things from now from Hesser and Kipke. And I got a good ones, including a story time, which Ken Hesser has requested. So I got to give him a story time, and I'll give it to him. Games of the weekend and this, that, and the other. We got a lot to get to, don't we? Evan, come on, let's move it up. Let's speed it up. Here we go on Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Fight Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Ribco to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town.
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Hello. Do you want some pepper for your paprikash? You're welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. A lot of stuff to get to. Want to thank Todd Johnson for coming on the show. Of course, Coach Spurrier will be on Monday, so we'll ask him about Todd Johnson and his impressions of him as a player. Of course, he played, was signed by Spurrier, but he played his last year with Ron Zook and was a very good player again there. Now, again, this goes back to he was first team All-SEC 2 straight years under Spurrier. With Zook, record wasn't as good, was second team. And that's what happens. It doesn't matter. It didn't mean he wasn't as good. It just means they lost more games. That's the fallacy of awards. And that's why even last night, Steph Curry got the MVP. And if you didn't see the emotion of Steph Curry, it was unbelievable. I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, hey, you know what? 2 years ago, we couldn't even get in the playoffs. We had the worst team. And last year, we got knocked out in the first game. To come back and do all that. Anyway. All right, it is time for us to have some fun here on the last 18 minutes of another Dooley Noted Podcast. It could be 16 or 17. You never know with me. I'm a rebel, without a clue. So you don't know where I'm going to go. Let's start off with Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Like I said before, a lot of you did get the Golden State pick right, but the Rory McIlroy, I don't think anybody got right. I'm going to go back and relook and make sure I didn't miss a 67, but that's what he shot in his first round. So we have a lot of qualifiers, though, and we're going to give you this. Father's Day. And let me just say this about all the dads out there. You take your job seriously, A, and B, you deserve a lot of credit and a lot of I'm there with you in spirit. My problem is, losing my dad a year and a half ago, it's Father's Day is not easy for me. But who makes it easy is my lovely wife and daughter, who they treat I've told them before, I don't want a present. I don't want anything. Here's what I want. I want to be treated really nice for a day. That's all. Just be nice to me. Is that so hard? Apparently sometimes it is. Maybe it's me. It's a me problem, not a them problem. But I'm looking forward to Father's Day, and all of you should be looking forward that are fathers, and be thankful if you do have a father. And give him a call. Make sure you give him a call. Believe me, I have my oldest daughter who lives in Los Angeles. I have never let her forget when she didn't call me on my birthday. It's important that you do that. The old man in me coming out again. You didn't even call. All right, so here's what we're going to have. Father's Day. Braves at Cubs. And the reason I want to do the Braves at Cubs, Braves have won 14 in a row. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to have won 16 in a row going into that game. They play. It's funny because they play every game in this series with the Cubs at 2:22 in the. I guess it's like that TV show. Remember that Room 222? This is your parents hadn't even met yet, Evan, but this is an old show, but it was really good. Loved it. Everybody loved it. It was very popular. So anyway, at any rate, that will be something else to watch, including I was going to give you a golf one, but it just feels like it's impossible to come up with a good plan there sometimes on final rounds. But here's what you get. Braves at Cubs. Wrigley Field. Oh, Nelly. Hey. We could also do a little Harry Carey. Hey, if you're a hot dog, would you eat yourself? I know I would. All right, so that is our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Braves at Cubs. Ryan, I will get you your stuff. I promise you. We've been dealing with a lot. I'll get it to you. It's not. You didn't bug me about it. I'm not saying you bug me, but I'm just saying I have been negligent in doing this and probably playing too much golf. All right, I will get it to you. It's not going to go bad. Nothing in it's going to go bad. Gift certificates don't go bad. Okay. All right, it is time for our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week. And we talked about this a little bit last week, how, it's kind of hard this time of year for Gator of the Week. Gators are everywhere, and they're always doing something great. You know who it is? It is Tyson Alexander, son of Buddy Alexander, who yesterday shot a 62 on the Korn Ferry Tour and is playing so well there. He's going to get on the big tour. I know he's played some tour events, but he is playing so well. 62, a career low for him. So Tyson, who great guy, maybe we could get him on the show sometime. I've talked to him. I have his phone number. Hey, look, let's call him. Let's call him right now. No, we can't do that. He's probably playing golf. Tyson is the Gator of the Week for shooting a 62 in Thursday's Korn Ferry tournament. I know a lot of the attention obviously is on the U.S. Open, which it should be, but congratulations to him. So that makes him our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. Adams Ribco to Go is where I'm heading today. When I get done playing I'm going to go play a little more golf. Can't get enough of it. And then I'm going to take a nice Adams Ribco to Go dinner home to my lovely wife. So that is our Adams Ribco to Go for today. Let us go to the new. It's new. Hesser and Kipke. Hesser and Kipke, 3 things. They have moved over and have become sponsors of that. As we know, we talked about Hand Law is now with the starting lineup. We've got these things lining up. They're going to be beautiful. It's going to be a great summer, and what a football season it's going to be. I will tell you this, that 3 things is brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hill Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. So our 3 things, we'll start off with, if you've watched any of the U.S. Open yet, and a lot of you may not have. Some of you have real jobs. That's what I heard. If you've watched any of it, they've done multiple stories, and they will again all weekend, about Francis Ouimet, who it's to me, it's one of the greatest stories in sports. And they're kind of overdoing it, but that's what they do, and that's fine. I don't mind it because it's one of my favorite. It's my second favorite golf movie. My second favorite golf movie is The Greatest Game Ever Played, which was directed by Bill Paxton, who I thought did a masterful job. Shia LaBeouf is in it. The guy that played D-Day, and I can't think of his name. I'm usually great with characters' names. The guy who played D-Day in Animal House. That guy. Bruce, God, I can't think of it. Bruce somebody. Anyway, he's in it. It's a great movie. And I've watched that movie 100 times. I love it. It's great. It's about golf, but it's about struggle. Anyway, at Brookline, when it was coming to Brookline, I was like, man, I hope they don't forget that story. It's such a great story. No, they have blown it out of the water, and I appreciate it. And the house is still, they've restored it. It's unbelievable. They've restored it, and people do B&Bs there, basically. And the house looks exactly like it looked in the movie. Anyway, I just think it's a great story. The guy worked across the street and was an amateur and came over and beat everybody. Won the Open, won it in the playoff. Yeah, it's great. Never turned pro either. Interesting. All right, so on 3 things presented by Hesser and Kipke, I did want to mention number 2. Mike Pratt passed away yesterday. Mike Pratt was a great guy. You know how much I dislike Kentucky basketball, but not him. This was a guy I dealt with a lot. In fact, we had him on our show, on the podcast a while back, a long time ago. I think it was when Kentucky was playing Florida. Just was a super guy, would do anything for you. I've read many testimonials to him, people talking great about him. He was only 73, he had cancer. I just want to send my condolences to his family. And, I just really a good guy, and I feel terrible. So maybe I'll root for Kentucky next year. I just for Mike Pratt. Go win one for Mike Pratt. It's fine with me. All right, number 3 on 3 things presented by Hesser and Kipke. Ken Hesser has asked me for story time, and we could do this on every 3 things. It's fine with me. I got a million stories. I can go stories all day long. Some of them are boring. Some of them are funny. Some of them are just showing what an idiot I am. But this was the story he was asking about, how players played back in the 80s and 80s. Yeah, and 70s, yeah, on the artificial turf, which is brutally hot, okay? And so here's the best story I have, and that is that in 1982, I'll tell you 2 stories. In 1982, Florida beats USC in an unbelievable game. Wilbur Marshall destroys Sean Salisbury. Every time they run the sweep left or the sweep right, he runs a guy down from behind. They'd never seen any speed like that. This is a converted tight end. Had an unbelievable game. But it was huge for Florida, huge for Charlie Pell to beat Southern Cal. And it just put Florida on the football map. They hadn't been on the map except when Spurrier won the Heisman, really. They hadn't really been on it. After that game, Charlie Pell took a victory lap around the stadium to high-five all the fans. And I asked Wilbur Marshall when I was doing my book, Game of My Life, which is coming out again in July with 2 new chapters. We may give one away here. Yeah, in fact. I asked Wilbur about it. I said, what was that like? He goes, I didn't go back. As soon as that game was over, I went to the locker room and tried to get cool. It was so hot on that field. And I've talked to other players about stories where their feet were burning. They had to put extra socks because their feet were burning up. It was brutal. But that's what happened when the Houston Astros opened the Astrodome. And all of a sudden they had artificial turf. They had AstroTurf, was what it was called back then. And everybody goes, well, this is actually way cheaper than trying to figure out our grass problem. We don't have to worry about rain and everything. So everybody jumped on it. Now, not as many people are on it anymore, but there's still a lot of people that do. But the other story was the very first story I ever got published in my life was in the St. Augustine Record, because I was walking through the stadium in 1974, and I noticed they were digging up the AstroTurf. And I went and talked to some people and found out, no, we're not replacing it. We're putting new AstroTurf in, which, of course, the players probably didn't want. But so the headline was, Doug's Rug is getting a facelift, Doug Dickey. So it's great. I think there was an exclamation point after it, too, which is terrible. But that was the first story I ever wrote, was about the AstroTurf at the University of Florida. When Spurrier walked in the door, he said, well, first thing I'm doing, getting rid of that AstroTurf. We're going to go to grass field. And he'll tell you, the players appreciated it. He did that, and he changed to the blue uniforms, which, in my opinion, Florida should wear for every game at home. But that's my opinion. And that's the old man in me. In my day, we only wore one color. All right, so that is our 3 things presented by Hesser and Kipke, including story time. We'll do story time every time on Hesser and Kipke. 3 things. I think it's kind of fun. All right, let us quickly get through. We have 2 things still to get to. Quickly, the games of the weekend. Obviously, there's no NBA, which I think you were kind of hoping you would have, a lot of you out there. Let me go through the College World Series schedule. A&M and Oklahoma are playing right now, if you're listening to this live or watching it live at the College World Series. Texas and Notre Dame tonight at 7. Tomorrow it is Stanford and Arkansas, and then Auburn, Ole Miss, and again 2 and 7. Every day is 2 and 7. So, and again, we never know with rain. I've been out there when I literally thought I might die. They put us in Omaha in a like a bomb shelter almost type deal, because the storm was coming so bad. Between that and Oklahoma City, almost thinking I might die there. But I do miss both of those trips. I loved going to Omaha. It was tremendous. I liked it. I liked it better at the old Rosenblatt Stadium, but I liked it better that you were closer to the great downtown area. And I think it's one of the most underrated downtowns in America, in Omaha. So that's the College World Series. I can't give you Sunday because who knows who's playing, but it'll be 2 and 7 every day if you're looking to what to watch there. Obviously, we have the NHL playoffs, the Avalanche, which they were up 3-2, and I kind of went away from, or 3-1. I went away from it. I came back. It was tied. Ended up going to overtime. They won 4-3, so they're up 1-0. They play Saturday against the Lightning at 8. If you're a big Lightning fan, that's when you're going to be watching that. You probably already know it if you're a big Lightning fan, but if you just want to watch hockey, and then Monday at 8 as well, games 2 and 3. The golf Saturday is on from 12 to 8 on NBC. That's where I'll be. And on Sunday, 10 to 12 on USA Network, which is where it's been a lot of this week. And then 12 to 7 on NBC. So golf is exactly, that's the great thing. Whatever I want to eat, I just sit there and my wife will bring it to me. Now, she's not feeling well, so maybe that more part of it may be out, but I'll be all right. But the best thing was one day we did crab legs. Man, it was unbelievable. I mean, just one after another, and I'm watching the Open and drinking Bud Light limes, and I'm like, this is Father's Day. All right. What else do we have for you? All right. Oh, here's what we have for you. Braves at Chicago. If you can find that game. Like I said, all the games with the Cubs are at 2:20 is the time of the game. If you can find it, if you have MLB Network or whatever, watch the Braves. The Braves have won 14 in a row, and they're 4.5 games back. I thought we were done again. I didn't give up on them, though. I will say that. Last year I gave up on them. I didn't this year. All right, finally, it's time for this, that, and the other, presented by Ironwood Golf Course. And I'm going to tell you that the greens are coming around, but the back nine's still got a long way to go. But the greens of the front nine, the first 5 are as good as I've ever seen them out there. And when they mow them down, they're going to be unbelievable. These guys know what they're doing. Ironwood Golf Course, Ballyhoo Grill. Our friend Bill Reichert over there, we love to death, and we could end up there tonight. You never know. We never know. You never know with me where I'm going to end up. And Dar Shackhow Insurance, we appreciate John Dar Jr. very much over there for helping us out with this podcast. So this is that, as you know, if you watch this show or are listening to me on the radio, I've been pretty critical of this LIV, L-I-V, whatever they went. I don't even know what L-I-V stands for. Losers in vertigo. No, that wouldn't work. Anyway, I've been pretty critical about it because nobody will come out and say, I'm only doing it for the money. Well, which is the only reason it is. And I get it. Like this amateur who won the U.S. Amateur, they offer him a lot of money. And he's like, yeah, I don't even have to play good. And I can win money, plus what I could win in majors. So that part of it I do get, but I'm not going to ever say that I'm not bothered by the politics of it all. And again, 9/11, people from 9/11 that suffer from 9/11, lost people 9/11, they are losing their minds because I can't believe this is a government that sponsored the terrorists, and this is what you're going. Okay, I try to stay out of the politics part, but it does affect me. But that's this. That is that one of our loyal listeners, Michael Tudine, who's my good friend, was Jeff Tudine, and he's his son, brought up, he goes, you're always talking about the USFL like it's the greatest thing that ever was. Isn't that the same thing? And so I had to stop and think, and I go, well, it kind of was. But the other is that he's right and he's wrong. He's right in that this is the same thing. Players saying, I can get more money doing it. Herschel Walker saying, I can sign and play right now rather than wait another year to play in the NFL. Yeah, no, it was greedy. It was just as greedy. No doubt about it. It was fun to watch, but the games did mean something. The golf doesn't mean anything. It's exhibition golf. That's all it is. And cannot get over who's sponsoring it. That's me, and that's the other. That's going to do it for another Duly Noted podcast brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We appreciate everybody for watching or listening, and we appreciate Todd Johnson for being on the show. Monday, Coach Spurrier will be back. We'll ask him about Todd Johnson. I think I'm going to talk to him about the 1964 season, his sophomore year, his first start at quarterback. That's what our premise is going to be. Until next time, until Monday, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.